Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to see if I can give a $1 fishing reel a second chance. Well, there's no names, no branding, no indication of what this may have been at all. This reel was purchased for $1 at a local garage sale. It has blistered paint. You can see it flaking off. This may have been repainted. I'm not quite sure, because usually those things have a German silvering on it, and while the rest of the reel kind of looks like, well, it's had a hard life, this one looks like it's blistering, but so be it. For $1, what can you expect? It does turn. And well, I call these tuition reels. Let's go learn about this reel. First thing I would think is that the reel was probably made before World War II. That's the style of this bait caster, and well, this does not have a level wind function, so it is the most entry of the reels, and it was probably part of a rod and reel combination, although that's kind of hard to say. It was not a quality manufactured reel. This is steel pieces that are rusting as opposed to stainless steel or German silvered type of plates, but I kind of think every reel deserves a second chance. Wouldn't it be fun to see how much we can improve the performance on it? As I mentioned, it does turn, it is noisy, and there's a little skip in it, but it'll also give us the well, an inside look at how these reels were made at the time. Well, if you enjoy these types of videos, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and if you do subscribe to my channel, please use that notification button. It'll let you know when I'm posting. And I post on all kinds of fishing reels and fishing reel related topics. This one's a little unusual, but you know, every now and then you want to do something different, and this certainly is different. The reel that I have in front of me, I call department store reels or hardware store reels. That's generally where you would have found these back in the day, before we had sports superstores and big box type stores. We're going to start by removing the side plate. That should hold the gear in place. Now there's 3 screws here. One of the things you want to do when you're diving into an older reel like this one, you want to take pictures. Since you can't identify what the model or the brand name is or any of that kind of stuff, well, your only recourse, and if you get lost, is the pictures you will take. So we want to know what those pictures, what the parts, the sequence, the order, etc. are, so that when we put it back together again, we can make certain that they are working. You saw this fall out. This is simply an insert for the piece, kind of clamped in these 2 slots on both sides. This does not have a jeweled cap or anything. This is simply relying on the stud on the spool and a hole in the sidewall. And well, inside, well, nobody's ever used that clicker. Nice sharp pointed beak to it. And at some point somebody did have some grease, so that's a long time ago that's been dried up. I'm going to take the clicker and put that in the off position. The spool, well, when you're servicing a spool, there's not much going on there. So just make sure it's clean. This one doesn't have any fancy ball bearings like the newer bait casting spools or anything like that. It's simply an axle shaft, an arbor, if you will, a gear that is driven by the main gear, and a click ratchet on this side. And well, that's just spinning free, so that click ratchet's no longer working. That's broken through. From a standpoint of what do we need to do with that case, I guess we could clean it up. But right now we're just going to put a little bit of grease onto the spool and set that in there. These post bars actually have a screw on that side. I believe you would remove the bar, or they may be pressed into the case. Hard to see. Alright, I'm just going to lay that right there. Here's your business end. It can't be much more simpler than this. There's a main gear. Inside there's also a plate that's keeping exterior from the interior plates. Let's go see what that's about. We're going to remove the handle screw if we can. We have to hold the main gear in the back. It's turning that at the moment. And this is one way to identify the age of the reel. If you have a Bakelite type of a handle on it, which is what these are, that generally says 1930s. This could be anywhere. This could be the 20s, the 30s. I'm just going to say it's pre-World War II. When you take that handle out, you can remove the inner working. And this is just a baffle plate that's holding the spool here. And instead of having the opening on that side, it does shield it from the elements with the cover. With that off, we can just take the main gear out. Well, see, just is an interesting word there. It's a little tight. Tight, no doubt, from the dried grease, and that's no doubt the cause of why this has been a little bit tough. And why I said, let's see if we can't give it a second chance. Well, I've used the penetrating oil to break that free. I'm going to use a cotton swab to clean inside. And that's kind of what's clogging the pipeline, if you will. And this is a very simple reel. I've mentioned on many occasions that all the reels kind of share a common thing. A big gear turns a little gear, turns something to collect the line. On a spinning gear, it would be turning a rotor. On your conventional gear, it's turning a spool. Principles are essentially the same. Big gear is your drive gear or your main gear. Your little gear is your pinion gear, or in some cases, or most cases, it's the pinion gear, but some it might be a rotor cup or something to that effect. Of course, they get much more complicated than that, but at the end of the day, the main gear is doing the driving. The other one's responsible for turning either a spool or a rotor. And that's what makes the world go round, if you will. Clean it up. Take a look at the teeth. Make sure that they're all uniform. If these were broken, well, this reel just became history, and I lost $1. But they're not broken, so I'm going to put some fishing reel grease on that and the stem where that gear turns. Reinsert that in. I'm going to put a drop of oil into the center of the handles, which is the stud that it's going to ride on. I want to clean out the back of this. There's not much going on in here. Some dried grease. And when you do your cleaning, try to stay with the least abrasive approach. So right now, a paper towel was able to close that off. So just leave it at that level. If you were struggling with that, then move up maybe to a kitchen scrubby or something else. It's not very abrasive. And then, of course, as you move up even further, maybe steel wool or something like that would be the answer. This has got just the tabs that's going in to hold that in place. There's no screws on the bottom, so let's put the tabs in. Now we can bring the assembly over and make sure you get the tabs in on this side. I often wondered how they do these things when they're making these reels, because not all the time does it line up easily. There's a balance thing going on here. And my curiosity almost always gets me in that regard. All right. Let's try looking at it rather than just poking around. A little bit of dexterity required. One tab in. Okay, the four tabs are in. Now we can take our main plate. Again, I'm pretty sure that this has been painted over. We have the can of silver spray paint. Tried to dress it up a little bit. No problems there. people do that today, right? I mean, there's no shame in trying to take care of your reel, and if taking care of your reel means to you that you're going to repaint it, go right ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to put that in here. This one's going to be a little interesting. I'm not sure. Probably should have held that main gear out first. Pull it out with the screw. I just put the screw in to pull that out a little bit. May still have some issues getting this on here. It may just fall back in or not. So I think what we'll do is we'll bring it in this way. Always something. I'm going to take the other two screws before I go any further. Bring those in. Tighten them down. So you don't need much for this. Just 3 screws. And I guess a good memory. You want to check on this while you're doing it. Make sure that everything is kind of uniform before you go too much further. And I just noticed as I was putting that second one in, that reel seat slipped. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, maybe you're working on one, maybe you're stuck along the way, maybe you're trying to rescue a reel that costs more than $1, and you just don't know where to start, where to end, where to solve a particular issue, just leave those in the comment section. I do try to answer them. Generally speaking, I try to answer them in the mornings. So if you're leaving something in the evening, just be patient. I will try to respond to you. It's just not a 24/7 helpline. All right, I think I got that back together again. So these reels were the only types of reels that you really had for bait casting in the 20s. You had ocean reels, but as far as freshwater, this was the standard. And just like today, you had reels that, well, they were very expensive at the time. Some of them incorporated the line guide feature, and as we mentioned, German silvering for the metal finish, and nice handles and beautiful colorations. And then there were the ones that were basic. I'll call them pond reels for lack of a better term, but they didn't do much other than catch fish, and that's what this one is. If anybody happens to know what the name of this reel is, that would be welcome. I'm always trying to learn things, and the folks on our channel, well, they know a lot of stuff. So most of the time there's a telltale about who the manufacturer is. It's a color of a reel, it's the type of handle that was used, all kinds of things like that become the kind of the signature, if you will. I think I got it. Sometimes that doesn't work. That works that time. All right, well, that was it. We had a big gear, the little gears on the spool. The posts were lubricated. The main gear shaft, as well as the teeth of the main gear, were lubricated. Let's see how we did. Look at it, quieted it right down. Smooth turning. Unbelievable. My $1 fishing reel is ready to go fishing. That's what kind of makes reel repair fun. If you understand the principles of the reel, well, you don't need the schematics. You don't need to send it off. You just need to have a little bit of patience and have a little bit of fun. I hope you've enjoyed that. Well, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle with our no-name reel. It might be under the paint, who knows. But right now, we don't know what this reel is, other than fixed. So this reel is fixed. It's ready to go fishing. Look at that. It'll spin nice when you make a cast. I like that a lot. Hope you've enjoyed that. I want to take a minute to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, and rescue folks for their dedication to task. And I want to wish everybody a great day, fun fishing, a good time servicing the reels that you find or the reels that you own, and well, just generally enjoyment in the art of fishing and fishing reel repair. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.